in. So it's great to have them in on for Men's Day. 2024 is going to be a big year for Adcraft. 50 years, my goodness. But we got to get started with your picks. We're not going to go right into the Super Bowl because they added an extra week to the NFL. They had to make a little bit more money in the NFL. Do you guys do anything for the NFL? I know you do a lot for the colleges.
No.
Probably hard to get involved with them, huh?
Yeah, we don't do any NFL licensing.
So I haven't reached out to Roger Goodell or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Very good. Kansas City, Baltimore. Colin, we'll go with you.
I'll go Baltimore.
Going to go Baltimore? Okay. The other Colin?
I'm going Baltimore as well.
All right. And Dan?
Ravens, yep.
All righty. Very good. And Detroit, San Francisco. Colin?
I like San Francisco, but I'll go with the Lions just for the story.
Okay. Colin?
I'm going San Francisco.
Oh, you are the first to pick San Francisco. Now, you're a little concerned without Deebo Samuel? I mean, he's still kind of iffy with that shoulder.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he's one of the best players in football. But, with
he's pretty nice to have, yeah.
Kittle and Purdy, and I got to root for those guys. So.
All right, very good. And then you said San Francisco also?
49ers too.
All righty, so...
you probably got a lot of Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit.
So anyway, you picked Baltimore, Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you want in the Super Bowl?
Well, to win those out of those two, if I'm going with Lions over the Niners, then I'll go Lions all the way then.
Okay, so there you go. And you've got...
I'm going to go
kind of,
Niners.
you can move that microphone
sorry,
back and
all right.
forth. Yeah, that's... I mean, it can go back and forth. That's mobile.
I'm going to go with the Niners.
That's the first one to pick the Niners for a Super Bowl. And what about you, Dan?
Niners as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Appreciate you guys all coming in. So, Dan, we'll get started with you. Did you get in on the first year? It's the 50th anniversary.
Well, no, not real. Kind of. I'd go there after school. I went to North Catholic, so we kind of walk. You could walk. We were in the Lions district then, so I could walk there after school and kind of mess things up while Dad was working. But
so again, for our listeners, the Adcraft story. It was with your father. How did this all come about?
Yeah, there was where Sweetheart Bakery is now. There was a sign printing. It was actually called Adcraft. Proust, I don't remember, like Bob Proust.
No, I
Does
don't
that name
know
sound familiar? Because they were softball players too, those guys.
Okay.
I thought maybe. But so Dad bought that business, but decided to get into actual screen printing. And, what was it, late 74, early 74, it wasn't really, T-shirts weren't what they are today. You had to go buy a T-shirt at JCPenney's and maybe kind of makeshift screen printing. The inks weren't like they are today. And so I remember him printing shirts and for North Catholic Junior Olympics. It was white shirts with a blue imprint, and then after 3 or 4 washes, the imprint would crack and peel, and so because they didn't, the new types of inks weren't even developed yet. So the screen printing business has come a long way in 50 years, and we were there kind of toward the beginning of it. So it's pretty cool.
So when did computer come into it?
I would say probably about 88, 89 when we started doing graphics on the computer. My dad used to cut all the graphics out of Amberlith or Rubylith. I think if I remember right, he would shoot a positive at the Herald with their camera, and then he would cut this Amberlith or Rubylith for the design work. And then we bought a pretty robust system, or what we thought, with an X-Acto blade. What we thought was a pretty robust graphics computer system, 88 or 89.
Yeah.
And we hired our first artist at that point, Todd Steffen. And that really was a game changer, actually.
Yeah.
He was an excellent artist. And then, a little technology thrown in there with doing graphics on a computer.
So, okay, young Colin.
Yeah.
I mean, now here you are. You enter much later into the game. Things certainly different from when your grandfather got started.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working on putting together a documentary to celebrate the 50th of them. So I'm learning a lot about. I mean, I knew a lot about it, but even more so, I'm learning about the process of them. Looking at the old separations of how the artwork is, and you think about today, we're starting to look at stuff with AI and things like that, Institute and all that stuff, and we'll still have the the main craft of that'll never be going away, but there's so much more advancement now that you can do, and that's one thing about us. I think that we've always tried to stay on top of the latest technologies so we can serve our customers the best. But yeah, it's crazy looking back at the old stuff and just how they used to do it, and hearing how my grandpa did it back in the day and stuff like that is pretty crazy.
So you're putting together a documentary. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've kind of always wanted to make a documentary. I love documentaries, and with the 50th come around, first of all, I don't know if you remember my grandpa. He didn't really say too much, so I don't have too many stories. He just led by example, so I don't have too many actual stories about the business. So I'm kind of gathering some stories from friends and old customers and old employees and stuff like that, and just going through like some of how it started. He was using Vaseline to put the letters on the screen basically, and then to the technology we have today. I thought it might be kind of interesting for everybody to see like how far that's come. So are you going to reach out? I mean, you're going to be the next Ken Burns? Is that what's going on here? I don't think so, but I just thought it'd be something fun to put together.
How can people access that once you get it going?
Well, we'll put it out online, put it on YouTube and LinkedIn and stuff like that, and social media as well. So I'm in the research phase right now.
Okay.
So hopefully to have it out by early summer, I would say.
Again, 2024, 50th anniversary year for Adcraft. So when did you guys really start thinking about what you want to do with 2024? I mean, you knew probably 50 years was coming up.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it's been there for a couple of years on the calendar, but it always seemed quite a ways off. And so right after I think Tailgate and Tallboys left, and we had a little time there, we kind of started talking about when we thought we better start putting ideas together. Well, then all of a sudden we get busy again, and it just gets crazy and the time goes away. Luckily, little Colin, him and his team have been kind of piecing things together. That's the beauty of where we're at now, is it's not just a skeleton crew anymore. We've got some awesome people that are on our team, which that's why it's so exciting, because they're helping Colin put, one of them's Johnny's helping too, and helping him put all the marketing together and the projects for the 50th.
It'll be interesting when you get that all together. You have any idea how long of a documentary it might be? I mean, when you go into a project like this, do you think, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe a half hour?
Yeah, I was actually thinking 10 minutes. This will be like a mini documentary.
Okay.
So it won't be like a Ken Burns 4-hour one or anything like that, 10-hour one or whatever, but I probably think it's something palatable, something that people would be interested in watching. So I thought maybe 10 minutes, and we might even split it up into different mini segments and stuff like that too. So it's kind of a little bit of in the research phase now, so who knows what it'll look like in the end, but I'm excited to jump in on it.
So are you interviewing these two guys too? Are they going to be a part of the documentary?
Yeah, whether they like it or not, they're going to be in there.
So have you interviewed them yet? Have you talked to them?
I've been asking them a bunch of questions about stories from the past and kind of annoying them, trying to figure out how things happen and jogging their memory, but we'll actually be doing on-camera interviews with them too. So,
Colin, how much younger are you than Dan?
10 years.
10 years, so, so you got into it a little bit later.
Yeah, kind of the same. I mean, I remember going to my dad's shop, too, when I was little. He's babysitting us, I guess, to say. And then, I used to work for Dan probably early 80s for like a new baseball glove or whatever, because we had Sully Sports there, so we had retail, so I would put in some hours for like baseball gear or whatever it might be, back in the day. So that was probably mid 80s, and then just been going at it ever since. But it's fun to with the interviews and stuff, some of the questions he's been asking, it's fun to rehash it all, like stuff I haven't thought about forever, like how we got from one point to the next. So it's kind of been fun working with on that with him.
So Colin, have you learned some things about this Adcraft business that you had no idea about?
Yeah, I mean, I had vague ideas about some things, but the intricacies, like he was talking about, of like some challenges they faced when they had to do an order for 20,000 shirts for the first time, and they only had 3 guys there, and how they actually ordered the ink and, you know, had to keep reordering the ink and gone through the whole process and stuff, and how they were feeling about it. And so it's been fun just because I was around. You know, I was around as a kid basically my whole life, kind of working here and there, and that stuff's just happening around you. And so when you hear the actual specifics of the story, it's really interesting now as an adult. I can think back to what they were thinking at that time and stuff like that. So it's been cool.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Now, Dan, what was it like? I mean, when you got an order like that, and there were just the 3 of you. I mean, were you working 24 hours or what?
Well, really, the pressure was on Colin because, you know, I would get the order. Back then, that's kind of like one of our growth points is when I started hitting the road a little bit, doing some sales. Today, you don't have to do that with the internet and the social media. It's a lot easier today. But so, and then I'd bring back the orders or turn them in, and then Colin would have to figure out it's just him and another guy, and I think it was Colin, another screen printer, my mom was there, and then my dad would come after the
So did you say to him, you know, hey, take it easy sometimes?
No, I think I was ready to go. I was young at that point, so I had a lot of energy, which helped. Yeah, so at some points, some of the stuff he was turning in, you know, you just scratch your head and just go, how are we going to get this done? And then you just go at it, and you learn from that, obviously. But yeah, it was, I think in the screen printing, it was 3 of us, and then my dad. He had his day job, but he'd come help at night, and yeah, we'd just go at it.
We're talking with the Sullivans. Coming up will be a check of the weather.
It's a downsizing auction this Saturday, January 27th at the Tipton Auction House for George Brown of Savannah. Doors open at 9. Auction starts at 10 a.m. Auction items include a 2,400 Arctic Cat 4-wheeler, nice furniture such as sectional with 2 recliners, buffet dressers, flat screen TVs, 2 Lazy Boy recliners, good tools, and much, much more. For a complete listing and pictures, go to TiptonAuctionService.net or Auction Zip Auctioneer number 3815. Tipton Auction Service, just north of Thompson, Illinois, on Route 84.
It's time now for the Storm Track 8 weather forecast, brought to you by American National.
Happy Friday. We will continue to see a few showers, especially along and north of I-80 through the morning hours. By the afternoon, though, expecting a lot of cloud cover, likely going to continue to see some fog linger around the area. Temperatures today are going to be in the upper 30s. As we head into the overnight hours, we'll continue to stay fairly cloudy. Again, could continue to also see that dense fog linger. Temperatures will be in the low 30s for overnight lows. I'm Storm Track 8 meteorologist Morgan Strackmine.
Currently, we have cloudy skies and a temperature of 36 degrees. Winds are out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. This weather report on KROS has been brought to you by American National.
Worry less about your insurance coverage while adding money back into your wallet with the American National Cashback Reward Program. Insure your auto and home and remain claim-free for 3 consecutive years, and you can get back 25% of your qualifying first-year premiums. Best of all, your reward continues every year as long as you remain claim-free. Let Agent Kevin Schrader at 348 2nd Avenue South from American National reward your smart thinking. Call Kevin today at 563-244-0876. It's a new year at Unique and More. The place you must check out. They have thousands and thousands of vinyl records, thousands and thousands of CDs, thousands and thousands of DVDs and Blu-rays, a very large selection of Funko Pops, Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and NASCARs, thousands and thousands of comics and action figures, a very large selection of video games to include Xbox 360 games, Xbox One games, PS1 games, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games, Wii games, DS games, and vintage games, thousands and thousands of signs and knives, and so much more to see. You will not leave disappointed. Unique and More is your buy, sell, and trade store, 700 South 2nd Street in Clinton.
Men's Day, and we're talking with the Sullivans of Adcraft, getting ready to celebrate 50 years in 2024. So, Dan, what are some of the plans and work right now?
I don't know if there's concrete plans. There's the documentary. Obviously, we'll do some open house things. I think the guys are trying to plan a golf tournament. And we'll be doing specials for local customers throughout the whole year.
So who is all involved with Adcraft? How many employees now? Obviously, you've gone from a little bit more than 3.
Yeah.
So what's all going on down there at the foot of the South Bridge?
I think we have 42. I think it's 42 right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we've built kind of makeshift, cubicle offices and we're at capacity there for some web store people and sales team members.
So how does it break down as far as like sales, creative, actual production of the product? Explain that to me.
The number of people? Or,
yeah, I mean,
the
how
process?
how does the process, how does it all break down?
Let's see. Well, we have one good thing about sales is we count what Colin and his team, little Colin and his team does as a salesperson, the actual internet, web stores, and the marketing they do. That's almost like a salesperson in itself. And then we have customer service team members who their job, one works, there's 1 or 2 that work in the Bettendorf office and a couple that work in Clinton, and their job is to answer customer inquiries and email. Because when you have a lot of web stores, there's going to be questions and every day, or somebody ordered the wrong size, they want to switch. So we have people that just handle customer service. And then there's actual, what we call account reps. I'm one of them, so we have 3 or 4 account reps that they have a set list of accounts who they deal with. Some of them are on the team side where, they'll deal with the schools and teams, and some are on the corporate side. And then we have IT. We've got 3 people that work IT because we build our own stores and everything. We're constantly doing that. We've got 2 what we call web store curators. Their job is to, once we sign a web store up, their job is to curate, set up nice products for the customer that their customers will buy, and because they earn money. And then production we're short, actually, handed, but we have like 6, 7 people in production.
Yeah, 7.
That's anywhere from embroidery to screen printing. And we have order packers. The warehouse is kind of the lifeblood. We've got 4 or 5 people that work in the warehouse, and their job is anything coming in, anything going out, keeping track of all of that. So, yeah, there's, and then everything is everybody's job too. So all hands on deck when there's issues. And we have art department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So what's it like when you bring somebody in? And we'll talk to Colin about this one. We should get to share the microphone there. When you bring somebody into Adcraft, talk about the training process.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on which area they're coming into. Little Collins set up some really nice training for sales, web store. A lot of that. I don't think initially, we try to lay it out. Here's what your job's going to be, and I think it's hard for people to really understand what to expect when they first come in there, and then they learn quickly. And we're big on team as well. So here's your job. We're going to train you on this, but this area might need help, that area, and we're fortunate to have good people down there that'll fill in wherever they need be. But we have a kind of a set standard training. I can speak on production. Just to run some of those presses down there to get really good at it is a couple-year process, really. So it does take a while. But actually, yeah, we're short-handed. We're out of space, so we're looking for another little growth phase.
Oh my goodness! Talk a little bit about the web stores, Colin.
Yeah, the web stores. I mean, it's been probably 15 years or so that we've had them up and running. Before it was like paper forms that you do, and there's one area where we felt we were pretty early on in the marketplace. We had that technology, and back then, I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but back then people were still hesitant to put their credit card on the internet. So that was a little bit of a challenge. Now it's just normal, but like back then, that was a bit of a challenge. Right when I got out of college, we were trying to tell people like, no, this is going to be the best way to do it. It's the most efficient. And now we're like today we'll have a development meeting every week. We have development meetings on how we can make it more better for our customers in the end, and it's slicker basically.
What about the creative aspect of it? I mean, as far as people wanting a design.
Yeah, we have a great designer, Leah Melvin. She's been there for probably 15 years too or so, and she can interpret a lot of people. Some people, you have a couple different types. They're like, I know exactly what I want. I want this, and then we have to work with that too, because sometimes it's not always screen print ready. And other people are just like, give me a basketball with a thing on it, or they don't know what they're like. So Leah has to kind of take all that information in, quickly get a design out that sort of matches what they're thinking, and then go from there. And we also have another artist, Ethan Hahn, that's works with us. He does a lot of marketing design too, and he really gets into sort of hand-drawn, creative type of things, and so it's both ends of the spectrum there.
I know, visiting with you in the past, that trademarking is somewhat of an issue too, isn't it? Or
it can be, yeah, it can be. Like University of Iowa, we have to have all the proper licenses for that, and we really work with them pretty closely on what we, can and can't do, and even more so now, people are, back in the day, somebody might want just like their name with a tiger hawk or something like that, or their bar with a tiger hawk, and it's a little bit tougher now to have that actually happen, because we want to make sure we're following the rules too. So
yes, it's always important to follow the rules. I'm sure you have found that out. So anyway, you're the one, I had never heard of this Beatles song.
Yeah, well, this is And Your Bird Can Sing by the Beatles.
2024 is just going to be a huge year. One of your talking points, potential new building expansion plans. Who wants to talk about that?
Count.
Yeah, I mean, we're like you're saying, we're out of room right now, and we had to put some makeshift offices in for new employees and stuff like that. We're just continuing to grow, so we're looking for expansion, new facilities, things like that. And,
are you going to stay in that area where you're at right now, at the foot of the South Bridge? You got enough room down there?
We have not really.
Not to build.
Not to build anything onto that. So we might have to split it up a little bit with a sort of a showroom until we can get a full big. The ultimate goal is our full, custom-made, sort of full-on facility that fits well with us. Because like even with that adding that building on, we're makeshifting a little bit by taking that old brick building and adding on the metal building, and we've grown that. I mean, that was 2015, and it seems like just yesterday, but we've outgrown that pretty quickly too. So
I think I've only been in that old brick building, just into the actual building one time. I mean, what was that originally for?
I think. Burpee Seas was there.
Okay.
It was actually, I believe, a furniture manufacturer.
I think it was the post office for a while.
Post office was originally a furniture manufacturing company, and then I guess Burpee Seas was there, and then the post office used it for a while. And
do you ever just walk?
Hatchery.
Do you ever just walk around like in the?
It is pretty cool.
The upper two floors of that building are really, really neat. I've always thought apartments up there or whatever would be really cool. But yeah, like he said, we've actually been looking for a new spot or to build or buy for a couple of years now, because we saw this coming, and now we're to the breaking point, really.
Yeah. So you had mentioned during the break, Temple's got 100 years coming up.
Yeah. So that's that'll be a little bit more of a research project for Little County, but because we didn't start Temple's, we acquired them back in 2014, but they started in 1928, so that'll be 100 years. 28.
People want to find out more information. How can they best do that? Little Cow.
Well, they can go to adcraftusa.com or just hit us on our Facebook page or LinkedIn or Instagram, Adcraft Printwear. And that's where we'll see some stuff. YouTube page, check us out there too.
Okay, well, let me know when you break the documentary. Okay?
I will, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. We'll do a whole campaign for it.
All right, very good. Great to have you guys in. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary.
Discover Dandelion Wishes in downtown Fulton. Owners Emily and Dan Detterman invite you to look over the great variety they are now offering at 1102 4th Street. You will find outstanding gift ideas, items to decorate the home or office. Dandelion Wishes